Hi, my name is John Maxwell, and I'm very excited that you're not only with me for this training tape, but for another one or two later on, because here's what I know. I'm going to teach the 5 levels of leadership. In just a moment, you're going to learn not only how to influence people, but how to grow in that influence. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a meeting and people were talking and you knew you had some good ideas, but somehow you either didn't speak up, or when you spoke up, it seemed like nobody was listening. And you thought to yourself, wow, I wish I could present a good idea that everybody would kind of take off on and I could truly kind of become a catalytic leader to that group. Well, I'm about to tell you how to gain your influence level to such a degree that when you speak, people listen. Better than that, when you lead, people follow. Hang on as I teach you the 5 levels of leadership. Every time you climb a step, you have put another foundation underneath your leadership belt. The key to getting people to be successful is to put them where their strengths are. Your team has to be equal with the level of your dream. Your future isn't based on your organization. Your future is based on you. Today I would like to talk to you on the subject, the 5 levels of leadership. In my book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, I talk about the law of influence. The law of influence basically says the true measure of leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. You see, the number one question I think of a leader who really wants to lead others is this question: how do I increase my influence with people? In other words, very simple. If I'm to be a good leader, if I'm to be an effective leader, I have to influence people. And I spent a lot of time helping people understand that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less, and that if you really want to increase your leadership ability, increase your influence ability. That's really key. In fact, I wrote a book a few years ago that just talked to you about how to increase your influence. It's called Becoming a Person of Influence. I talk about 10 ways to increase your influence in that book because I want to help people understand that as you increase your influence, you increase your leadership. Leadership's not title, it's not position, it's influence. Nothing more, nothing less. In this session, I'm going to share with you the 5 levels of leadership. And when I talk about the 5 levels of leadership, I could just as well be talking about the 5 levels of influence. I use those 2 words interchangeably. So for your notes and in your workbook, I'm going to walk you through the 5 levels of leadership, and I'm going to try to help you to understand how to go from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4, someday eventually perhaps even be what I call a step 5 influential leader. Let's go to the first step. Let's go completely down to the ground floor. On level number 1, the key word is position. You see, at this level, you have a certain position. You have a job. You have a job description. You have a title. People have given you a position of which, in that position, you have certain rights. In fact, beside the first step position, put the word rights, R-I-G-H-T-S, because what I want you to understand about level number 1 is, at this level, people follow you because they have to. In other words, they follow you because, you're the boss. You've got the paycheck. What is sad is, many, many times I run into people who think that if they have a position of leadership, that is the ultimate of leadership. But it's not. In fact, it's okay, but it's level number 1. It's where you start. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with starting at level number 1. We all start at level number 1. But what's sad is when I run into people who are stuck on level number 1. They're still trying to lead people by position. They're still trying to say, this is my job and your job is to follow me. And they're frustrated because what happens is people will follow you, but they don't want to follow you. They only do that because you have leverage on them. Let me ask you this question. How many of you have ever had a boss, ever had to follow somebody that wasn't a good leader? You know exactly what it's like. You hate it. You hate it because you maybe see farther than they see, you perhaps know more than they know. It's not any fun. And when you're at level number 1, it's a starting level, but that's all it is, and it's nothing more. So as I go over here to level number 1 for a moment, I want you to understand this. This is where we all start. If you have started there, it's okay, but you don't want to stay there. This is the foundation of your influence. This is the foundation of your leadership. It certainly is not the end. So let's go to level number 2. You see, level number 2 is the permission level. And at level number 2, the permission level, the key word is relationships. It's at this level that people follow you, not because they have to. They're now following you and they're following me because they want to. This is a wonderful level to be on. Let me explain this level for a moment. You see, at this level, you like people and people like you. I found out a long time ago that people won't go along with you if they can't get along with you. And again, every one of us have known people that we worked with or worked for that we didn't like. And it's not any fun to follow people that you don't like. It's just not any fun. And yet I have found that at this level number 2, they begin to like you and you begin to like them. And sometimes, you know what, I sometimes call this the second mile level, because at level number 2, people stay longer. Maybe they stay after work. If you're in a major project, they don't go home at 5. They may stay till 7:30 at night. They may come in the next morning to 6:30 in the morning. Why? Because there's a connection. There's a relationship. They like you. You like them. They'll go the second mile with you. It's a wonderful level to be on. I would say one more thing about the second level before we go to the third. Whenever I talk to people who want to increase their leadership and want to certainly increase their level of influence, I share with them that they need to work hard on their people skills. It is true. People do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. And your ability to connect with people, such as in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, where I teach about the law of connection, where leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. Your ability to connect with people, your ability at level number 2 to relate well to people is absolutely huge in your success. Now, if you do that well, there's a high chance you can get to level number 3. Level number 3 is called the production level. And at level number 3, the key word is results. What you're going to find at level number 3 is people follow because of what you have done for the organization. They follow you, they follow me because of what we have done for the organization. Now, this is absolutely huge. In other words, they basically describe you kind of like this. Before John came to this organization, we financially weren't doing good. Our bottom line wasn't good. Our profit wasn't what it should be. Now all of a sudden, the profit's getting good. The bottom line's a lot better. The morale's up. Now, when they start talking about you in terms of endearment and kind of with a sense of respect, you know that you're on level number 3, because the company is growing because you're leading. Now, at level number 3, the production level, something wonderful happens to your organization. At level number 3, momentum kicks in. This is where you get the big mo going for you. This is where you get this winning feeling. You get this winning environment, this winning atmosphere. You're kind of ready to take on anything that's in front of you. You're ready for a new challenge, a bigger challenge. Why? Because you're getting success now under your belt. People are feeling good about themselves. People are feeling good about you as the leader. A lot of self-confidence, good attitudes. All this happens at level number 3 when you begin to produce for your organization. Now, a lot of times, and sadly, I see this happen all the time in organizations, a lot of companies stop at level number 3. They think getting some bottom line profits and just having good morale is kind of the essence of what the company should be all about. But I'm here to tell you, as I teach leadership all across the country and literally internationally, my goal is not just to get you to level 3, because if you get to level 3, you're doing well, but there's so much more potential that you have. I want you to go to level number 4. In fact, it's my goal to get you to level number 4. You see, the fourth level of leadership, the fourth level of influence, is the people development level. And at level number 4, when you're developing people, the key word is reproduction. Now you're beginning to reproduce yourself. In fact, I want to make sure you understand the difference in these levels. You see, at level number 4, the people development level, people follow you because of what you have done for them. Now notice the difference. At level number 3, people follow you because of what you've done for the organization. At level number 4, that people follow you because of what you've done for them. Now all of a sudden, you're developing your people. You're making them better. You're training them. You're equipping them. You're building into their life. You're adding value to them. Here's the difference. If I belong to the XYZ company, and at level number 3, you've been the leader now for 5 or 6 years, and we're making good profits, and we're all collecting some good dividends and decent salaries, the whole deal. I really follow you as a leader because of what you've done for the organization. But let me tell you, you come to me and you say, John, I want to develop you as a person. I want to develop you as a leader. I want to train you. I want to equip you. I want to make you better. And all of a sudden, you start as one of the leaders of the XYZ company. You begin to pour your life into me. Now, let me say something. 6 months, 8 months, a year from now, wow, I begin to grow. Man, my wife says, John, you're getting to be a good leader. And the people in my department, they're doing better with me, and I'm doing better with them. Now, let me tell you something. At level number 4, when you start developing me, and at level number 4, when you start developing the people in your organization, let me tell you what happens there. Just as at level number 3, momentum kicks in and the company's feeling good about itself, at level number 4, loyalty becomes a key factor. You see, at level number 4, because you're developing people, they become very loyal to you because they begin to see themselves and say, I am much better now than I used to be. I'm performing at a higher level. I'm getting a better return. And they'll look to you and they'll give you the credit. Now I want to stop here for a moment because my commitment in teaching leadership is to always get you to level number 4. Because here's what I know. If you have the position or the title, and if you relate well with people and they like you and you like them and so you get along so you can go along, and if you're giving good bottom line results to the company that you're working with, and if you're developing people, you are now beginning to layer your leadership in such a way that you have a foundation that you can do incredible things for yourself, for others, and for your company. And at level number 4, I've been privileged to be there for many years with a lot of key players in my companies. And I can tell you, how I feel toward them and how they feel toward me, no feeling can replace. I love them. I believe in them. Their success becomes my success. I laugh with them. I cry with them. We take trips together. We enjoy being together. There's a relationship that you get at level number 4 that's much better than level number 2. And let me explain the difference. At level number 2, when we're having a good relationship, we just like each other. At level number 4, we not only like each other, we're having success experiences together. And we have stories to tell. We have victories to talk about. We have battles that we were in that we won. And we're just building a huge, huge kind of group team resume of the successes that we've had together. And it's a great level to get on. Now let me say something about these levels. Level number 1 is given to you. You join a company. Levels 2, 3, and 4, you must earn. If you do the middle 3 correctly, if you relate well with people, if you produce, if you develop others, if you do those first 3, if those middle 3 well, let me tell you what happened. Just as the first one is given to you by the company, here's what I love. The last level will be given to you by the people. For level number 5 is the personhood level. And the key word is respect. You see, at level number 5, people follow because of who you are and because of what you represent. In other words, let me explain it to you this way. You have done it so well with so many for so long that after a while you find they are literally lifting you on their shoulders. It's almost like the team does for a winning coach after they win a championship, and they pick them up and carry them off the field. To be truthful with you, if you do those first 4 levels well, there's a time when your people will pick you up. You never need to declare that you're on level number 5. The people declare it for you. It's a wonderful level to be on. Somebody says, well, how do I get to level number 5? It's very simple. Do the first 4 levels well. If you do the first 4 levels well, number 5 is automatic. Now, if I were you and I was taking these notes and I just listened to the 5 levels of leadership influence, the question, I would begin asking myself some questions, and I would begin to want to pull out some truths and principles that are huge. Let me give you 7 things that I want you to know about climbing the steps of leadership. Number 1, the higher you go, the longer it takes. Now, I don't even think I need to explain that to you. You understand that, don't you? You don't get to level number 5 immediately. In other words, you don't walk into your company, get on level number 1 and say, oh, well, this is good on Monday. Could I be on level 5 by Friday? No, by Friday you get to find out how to get to your office without getting lost. It takes a while. Remember, we're not trying to microwave leaders. We're trying to crock pot them. This is a crock pot process. It's a fact that it's going to take a while for you to go from level 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. It's going to take a long time. The second thing I want to share with you is this. The higher you go, the higher the level of commitment. And the higher the level of commitment is both your commitment to your people and their commitment to you. For example, if we go back to level number 1 for a second, when people follow you because they have to, they're not highly committed to you. They're not highly committed to following you. But every time you go up another level, your commitment to them and their commitment to you increases. That's why when people look to me and they say, John, I want to get a high level of commitment with my people. See, they're working on the wrong thing. They're working on getting commitment out of their people. They ought to work on climbing the levels of influence with their people. Because when you get to level number 4, the commitment is there. The third observation I would like to make is the higher you go, the easier it is to lead. Some people ask me, sometimes they say, John, is it possible for leadership to get easier? My answer is always the same. Of course it is. Every time you climb those steps, it gets easier, and let me explain why. Every time you climb a step, you have put another foundation underneath your leadership belt. So people at level number 4 that are with you because you've developed them, oh my goodness, they're much more quick to follow you than people who are just at level number 1. Fourth observation, the higher you go, the greater your success. The greater your success, the greater the success of the company. It just not only gets easier to lead, it gets a lot more profitable. Number 5, you never leave a level below, you build on it. Now, let's go back and look at the levels for just a second. And probably if I could, I would literally put lines here, because what I want you to understand is every time you go to another level, you're stepping and deepening your foundation. So as the higher you go, the more foundation you have underneath of you. And what I want you to realize is that you never leave level 1 when you go to level 2. You're still at level 1. You're just on level 1, but you happen to be also on level 2. So each time you go another level, when you're on level number 3, what it means is you're on level 3 with some people, you're on level 2 with some people, and you're on level 1 with some people. So here's what I'm saying is, when you get to the production side and you start producing results, you don't say, thank God I'm on level number 3. And I don't have to fool with that permission relationship level anymore. Boy, that was tough. I'm glad I'm not doing that anymore. Thank God, now I don't care what people think, I'm just going to produce. No. Remember this. If you ignore the level that you just left, that level will pull you down every time. Observation number 6. As a leader, you won't be on the same level with all of your people. Let me illustrate. Let's say you have 100 people in your company. All 100 of them are on level number 1 with you. Does that make sense? You've got the title, you got position. But when you go to level number 2, which is relationships, not all 100 people will go up to level 2 with you. There'll be a few that stay at level 1. So for teaching's sake, let's say that if you have 100 people at level number 1, let's say 80 people go to level number 2. 20 people stay behind. Okay, now those 100 people are still with you. They're just on level 1, but 80 of those people are on level number 2. When you start producing and giving results, not everybody's going to produce, not everybody's going to give you results. So let's say, again, you leave some others behind. So you go from 80 to level number 3, you got 60 with you. When you go from level 3 to level 4, where you start developing people, let's say you only have 40. Now here's what I want you to see. At every level, you have different people with you. And the higher you go, the less people that you have with you in the levels of leadership. Does that make sense? Yes. Now this is very important. And what makes this important is this. When you cast vision, many times I've seen this, where leaders, presidents of organizations, have cast a vision and they get different responses from their people. In other words, they'll cast a vision and one person says, my goodness, this is a great vision. I can hardly wait to roll up my sleeves. Another person says, boy, I can hardly wait to leave the company. And they'll come to me and they'll say, what happened? You know, I was in the same group with the same people at the same time, cast with the same vision, and they have all these different responses. Now, here's what I want you to see. People will respond to your vision, they'll respond to your leadership based on the level you're on with them. Let me explain. I have 100 people in my organization. I have 100 people on level number 1 with me. I have 80 on level number 2. I have 60 on level number 3. I have 40 on level number 4. Now, let's say that I'm asking for a huge commitment. Here's what I want you to know. The people up on these higher levels, they'll commit quickly and they'll commit deeply because they've taken the journey with me. The people on level number 1 who are following me because they have to, they won't be near as deep or near as committed to me as people on level 3 or 4. Does that make sense to you? I want to make the final observation and then drive home the point. The 7th observation is you must work to carry other leaders with you up the steps. Very simply stated, it's important for you to take what I call your inner circle. In the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, one of the laws is the law of the inner circle. The law of the inner circle basically says those closest to you will determine the level of your success. You want to make sure you take them up with you because if you take your leaders, your inner circle with you, they'll keep you there. I've seen times where leaders failed to take their key people up the levels of influence with them. And people follow them, some of them, but the key influencers, the leaders, the inner circle stayed down here. That's a bad scene. It's only a matter of time till these influencers will begin to pull you right back down. So ask yourself this question. Am I taking my inner circle up the levels of influence with me? Am I taking the key players on my team up the levels of leadership with me? It's important for you to go up the levels, but it's important for you to take especially the key people up those levels with you. One more thought on the 5 levels of leadership, and then I want to do some teaching, especially on the 3 middle levels. I would encourage you, on your own, to really study the 5 levels of leadership. If you want to know more about it, I would encourage you to pick up a book that I wrote in 1993 called Developing the Leader Within You. I have a whole chapter just absolutely committed to teaching the 5 levels of leadership. I've had many people study the 5 levels of leadership and say, it changed my life when I began to understand that my organization or my company doesn't take me to the next level. I take myself to the next level. See, your future isn't based on your organization. Your future is based on you. And your ability to understand these 5 levels and how to go from step to step to get to the top.